What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pincade. Today, like I had said during my last video, that I was going to try and get around to messing with the United Pinball application. And this is actually my second video at doing this because I made a configuration change on the screen for the application and actually stopped all of my recording output. And it took me a while to figure out what was going on, but I had already been yammering on for like 30 minutes, so we're going to try and go through this a little bit quicker this time, just because it's becoming like a long, tedious thing to get this thing working exactly the way I want. So, um, the website for the application is United, UNIT3D Pinball.net. Um, and inside here, if you go to downloads, you go to software. You'll see two software versions. One is a beta version, which appears to be current from June, and one is an alpha version, which is over a year old. Just downloaded this one, and then I went into the table section, and they had a couple of tables here. I took Attack from Mars, and I took the Addams Family. And since I have pin names set up, I didn't really have to do anything, and it was kind of a little weird how I know I went briefly through the user manual, and it talked about overwriting a pin name DLL with their custom version of it, and I just decided to try and run the application just to see if it would even work, and everything loaded. So I don't know if I'm really missing a step or if the way I have it configured it's working. I don't really know where this thing is at right now. Um, like I said, the documentation is kind of very brief. It looks, like they kind of portray it as though it's an easy setup, right? But there's a lot of stuff there it seems like they're taking for granted, like the fact that someone might already have pin names set up. Well, what if someone doesn't, right? It doesn't really cover any of that stuff. However, in my case, somehow I guess it knows where pin name is, and it's working. I didn't overwrite any DLLs, and after messing with this application, I think it's highly unlikely that I'm going to continue messing with this until I see further development. That's not to say that it's not a good application and that what they're doing isn't maybe good work. It's just the fact that after playing it, I just liked Visual Pinball better, and I don't see myself taking on this application as something that I'm going to use often. So that's my opinion on it. However, I would say that if I wasn't a cabinet user and I was looking for something that kind of played like Future Pinball but used ROMs and stuff, I would definitely recommend this application because it's going, if they do the enhancements and stuff correctly and fix some of the things I saw, I think it does have a very good potential to be a great desktop application. But for cabinets, I don't know. I don't know if I would use it just yet. Um, Especially considering that the VP10 is also gonna allow developers to make like one version of a table, and the application will actually switch it between desktop and full cabinet mode, and they don't have to manage or create two different tables for the same table. I know that sounds confusing, but I guess you get what I'm saying. I don't know if this thing will be worth sticking around. The other thing I was thinking about, I was like, well, maybe it'd be good for all the original Future Pinball tables. But the original Future Pinball tables don't use ROMs. So therefore, I'm still sitting here thinking, well, the only thing it's got going for it then is that you know, it's got the 3D element to it. So really what I'm getting at here is that I really think this application is for people that like the visual effects of future pinball but don't like the fact that it doesn't use a ROM. So then they convert it. They do this marriage between visual pinball, PinMeme, and future pinball and convert it all into this application, and then it solves everyone's problems. Me personally, I think I'd just rather hang out and see what happens with VP10. However, let's just look at what the application looks like, right? So this folder I have here is nothing more than the RAR file unzipped. I didn't configure any of this stuff. I didn't move anything around. This is literally how it came. And there's the PinMeme DLL, and LED Wiz DLL is in here, so I'm assuming it supports like a direct output framework type thing. And there's a free image DLL. This is stuff that you see inside of Visual Pinball, and I'm not overwriting any of my stuff to do this. So I'm just leaving it as is, and I don't know if I'm running this application entirely correctly, but I'm going to extract this Adams family, and I'm going to extract this Attack from Mars, and we're going to mess with Attack from Mars first, because there's certain things that I want to talk about with this table. So all I'm doing right now is just pulling the tables out, and I'm going to go into this table section. I'm just going to dump these files in there. And I think the Attack from Mars worked right out of the gate because I didn't. I already had the ROM. That's what I meant to say. So all I did was, because PinMame's already set up, all I did was click this, and then it asks, you know, where are the tables, right? Originally, this starts you at like the directory of like C, or my actually it starts you at like my documents, which I found kind of weird because I'm like, all right, well, I'm running the exe. Why wouldn't it look in its own table directory locally before looking anywhere else? So that was a little strange for me. Most applications, if they're looking for a file type, will look within its own directory that they expect it to be at first. But anyway, whatever. So we're going into the tables folder. And we'll go into the Attack from Mars folder. And their structure for tables is a little bit different. Like they have these sounds, and let me actually go into it. Oh, hold on. Let me cancel this out. So this is what it looks like. It's got all these XML files in here, and it's got I don't even know what this is. PUO. I've never seen this file type before. I'd have to look up what the hell it is. And scorecards and stuff like that, rule sheets. So that's what the structure of their table format is like. So I just dumped the whole folder in there. So anyway, back to let's get one to load. So their file type is UPT. I guess it stands for United Pinball Table. And we click this, and you'll see like this splash screen load up, which is normal, and then you'll see the actual table load up. Now, however, this thing is obviously saving some configurations that I had made from the last video. So I think there's a file somewhere that is not related to the table that it's saving the configurations. So I'm just going to go over them rather than try and figure out, you know, how to get this to play from scratch. And we could see this a little bit in the. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Since that's saving a little bit of my configurations, let's try messing with the Adams family because I didn't touch this one at all. And it looked like I just got an error message. So that is an interesting looking Addams Family. It almost looks like it's got like a halo effect going on with lighting in the background, but let's mess around with it, right? So anyway, obviously it's some of the settings I made were global settings, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. Normally when you load this up, it looks like this. Let's just change. I'm just gonna change it back so that you can see what it normally looks like when it loads up. So if this was the first time we're ever running this program and application, this is pretty much what your stuff would look like. It'd be in a window mode like this. I'm just checking to make sure that I'm still recording because this is kind of like what happened to me last time. My FPS rate looks lower than it normally does, and that's because I'm capturing the output. So I usually am getting like 60 frames per second on this application. This thing is kind of annoying. It does this right out of the box, and you can move it around and stuff, but if you hit escape, it'll bring up this menu at the top here. And the first thing is we want to go into options. I want to get rid of that FPS thing, right? So all the way at the bottom, just show FPS. You click that, now that FPS window is gone. These lamps and solenoids and GIs, this will turn off some of the lamps and stuff. I don't want to mess with that because the last time I messed with it, I turned the lamps off and turned them on, and then I did the solenoids, and then all of a sudden, like the table's lighting looked very weird, and I had no idea how to fix it. So also when you start it, the menu is ginormous like this. As you can see me scrolling up and down, it's just an intimidating block of stuff. What I found is the best thing to do is to just go through a section, look for the next collapsible unit, and just focus on that, and then collapse it when you're done until you can get through all of them. Now, one thing that I don't like about this application is the sound stuff, right? So, with my cabinet, I have two different sound systems inside of it, two different sound sources. One is the onboard audio of the card of the motherboard. I'm sorry, and that is going to my backbox speakers. That stuff handles all of the PIM-MAME type sounds like the ROMs, the music, the call outs, etc. Then I have a PCI card, which is I think an Audigy or something like that, which is going to a subwoofer, and that subwoofer is on the bottom of my cabinet, and it's drilled into the bottom of the cabinet, and it's pointing towards the floor. And what that does is it allows all of the solenoids and the pop bumpers and the slingshots and the plungers and the bell chimes, the VMs to be fired off from that speaker. And since it's inside of the cabinet, and it's mounted to the wood, it's pointing directly to the wood. All the reverberation goes through the wood, all the sound goes through the wood. So when you hit a flipper button, it sounds like there's a solenoid inside of the cabinet. With this application, it's currently only supporting one sound device. So either all my sound is coming through the back box speakers, or all my sound is coming through a bassy subwoofer pointed at a piece of, at the bottom of the cabinet. So I was kind of unhappy about that. I kind of lost a great bit of sound quality, especially since the solenoids in the flippers sound very clicky. Very, very, very clicky. It was almost obnoxious. And I don't know if it was just that one table. It was Attack from Mars. I don't know how Addams Family will sound, but we'll find out in a minute. So I'm just going to leave that alone, right? So there's one expandable area. The next thing is the camera type. I need it in cabinet mode, but to save you guys the frustration of trying to read sideways, I'm going to leave that alone for now. Rendering, Now I got to make sure I put this in the right mode because I didn't really understand what they meant by fake full screen mode, mono, fake full screen, all, and then real full screen. All I know is that when I put it in real full screen, I lose the video output. So I'm not gonna do that, all right? Because I spent 45 minutes before making a video for nothing. And when I put it in fake full screen all, it was like it wasn't lined up to the cabinet right. It was like half the table was on my main monitor, and the other half was like on the back box. So we're gonna do full screen mono just to get rid of this window. And there we go. Yes, we're still capturing video. Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna touch any of this I'm not touching too many buttons, right? I just want to get it to kind of work. Um, the ball trail effect is usually on, and I turned this off because the lighting was so intense on the ball. It almost looked like someone was like shining a flashlight like directly on the ball. And everywhere you shot the ball, it looked like this halo of blur, this bright halo of blur just going all over the place, and it was really distracting. So I shut it off. It seems like you can mess with the intensity and stuff like that, but I really don't have that much time to tinker with this thing too much. And to be honest with you guys, I really don't have like a huge interest in this thing. Just because I like visual pinball and I'm happy with the way it works. Physics, I didn't mess with any of this. I didn't get the nudging stuff working. I didn't even bother with that. Um, Here's the direct output. I don't know how this actually works. It activate, deactivate. I didn't see any change. I don't really have a DOF or a direct output framework system set up right now, so this stuff is kind of like irrelevant to me. However, since I saw the LED Wiz DLL and I see this option, there must be some kind of support for that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's going to support shaker motors and whirlwind fans or any other crazy shit you guys have in your cabinets. I would say that the most you could probably hope for right now is probably LEDs, LED support, flashers and stuff like that. I could be wrong. Maybe direct framework, direct output framework seems very open source and looks like anybody can code it to work with this stuff. But I'm just assuming that it's going to be a learning curve. It's a beta program. It's probably not going to work exactly the way you want it to out of the box. I will note that save option here. Pay attention to it because as you can see, I busted down these. I closed all these expandable units, and if you don't notice at the bottom it says save options. The first time I went through this stuff, I did a bunch of changes, closed the game, went out for a minute, came back, went to start the game again, and realized I had to start all the way from the beginning. So always make sure you're saving your stuff, and you got to save it per frame, per window pane, or whatever you want to call it. So input. Here's another. I'm glad this saved actually from the last video because this is such a pain in the ass for me. There's a ton of inputs that you could put in, right? To the point that I don't even know what all of them even do. Like I'm sitting here going, okay, key black, green, red. Those I know what they are, right? They're the key controls that you find inside of the coin door to go through step through the options of the ROM and stuff like that. But with Visual Pinball and PinMeme, all I had to do was push 0 and do 8 or 7 or whatever. And it also supports the same concept. So why do I need the green, red, and black? It just seems like it's overly complicating things. Like, just use regular buttons, PinMeme has its own buttons. I don't know why we need all this stuff. The other thing that was annoying me about this is you got input 1, right? So this whole column is all your input 1 stuff. And then you could put a secondary input and a third input. Now, when I change these, I have a control board, right, which goes to all these actual real pinball components. like buttons. I have all these kinds of micro switch and leaf switch buttons, and I have a digital plunger, right, which is really analog, but it's digitally mapped, right? And it detects that stuff fine if I go to change it in this first column. But in the second column, for input 2, it says no joystick detected, right? And sometimes you push a button on my cabinet and it detects it. Other times it says, joystick not detected. And then if you push it again to set the button and you pull the plunger and let it detect the plunger and then push it again and then hit the actual key that you wanted to really assign, it'll all suddenly work. So that sounds really weird to me, right? That sounds like it's got some kind of communication problem. However, hopefully these are all set up, now, and we could get in there. The other thing is, I wanted to test how well it was actually working with the ROMs. And normally with a ROM, sometimes you have to open the coin door, and then you're allowed to go and edit the ROM settings. So on Attack from Mars, I had to open the coin door. I looked at the input screen. I opened the coin door. I went in, I adjusted the ROM. I tested competitive mode, or competition mode of the ROM. And then I found out that I needed to close the coin door, which is normal, right? Because the ROM is looking, the logic board is looking at it and going, hey, the coin door is open. I've shut off all the things that can potentially electrocute and kill you in real life. These things are not going to really work until you close the damn door so I can put the voltage back up. Right? That's what it really is doing. So I'm like, all right, let me close the coin door before this thing, doesn't work right or whatever. So I hit the same button I used to, right? Logically, you would think, let me hit the same button I used to open it to close it, right? That's what I normally do, and it works fine. Not in this case. It kept opening the door and opening the door. Then I was looking for a key that says close door. I tried the slam tilt key. I tried a bunch of keys. Somehow I got the door closed. I have no idea how. I don't ever want to touch it again. And that's the end of that, right? That was a good 10-15 minutes of trying to understand how that even works. I have not messed with changing the camera angles or anything like that. So this camera editor is kind of like beyond me right now. However, it probably looks like one of the best features, and maybe we'll touch it on this one. Table options. This is another area that I did not mess with just because I was like, okay, this is looks like lighting and stuff like that, and I just didn't want to get crazy with it. So now I'm just gonna put this thing into a playable format for myself. Which is cabinet mode. I'm going to save that option. And hit escape. And now, okay, so you guys can still see that. That's good. Let me just take a sip of a drink really quick. Okay, so let's see if this thing is going to work.
Welcome, honored guest.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear the sound quality. The sound quality does not sound too great. The digital plunger, the analog plunger kind of sucked. And it seems like it's heavy on frame rate since I am recording, so it really is not going to allow me to make this video.
Have a nice swim.
Let's try it again. Yeah. So, as you can see, the reflection on the ball is kind of weird. I mean, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to reflect like that yellow and the red of the flipper. And then, since I don't have light going on it, it's probably like a little weird. But, anyway. The physics still feel weird to me. They still feel kind of like future pinball in a sense. I'm sorry that this thing reminds me a lot of future pinball. I mean, I understand that the table's built off of it, and that's pretty much why. Oh, that's weird. So you can't use your launch button, it looks like, as
Let's go.
I have my launch button as a secondary
Don't torture yourself.
analog plunger in case you didn't want to use the plunger, like basically what you do in visual pinball. And yeah, it's not liking that, so I won't be setting that up anymore. So it's kind of weird because see, that was weird how that hung. I don't know if I'm getting like really weird bounces here because of the frame rate, but I probably should have turned down the frame rate of my recording, but shit. There's certain aspects of this that I like. Like, I like the fact that I hit that switch on the bear kick ramp and it's still like swinging there. But then, if you notice when I'm trying to catch the ball, it does these weird bounces. Like, I don't know, that just looks very weird to me. The plastics also on those ramps look very strange too. They look almost like spaceship-like.
Go, man.
I was also trying to play around with the flipper physics for, you know, post-passing and stuff like that. And I started seeing some weird scenarios with that as well. Now, it's not to say that this stuff may not be tweaked and tunable, because I mean, honestly, there's a lot of tables I get in visual pinball that don't play right out of the gate, and then I tune a bunch of knobs and they play awesome. You've seen me do videos for that. I haven't enough experience with this yet to really get an idea how to play this stuff better. And I might keep this around for like a month just to play around with turning all those dials to see what happens. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually see if I can turn down. I'm going to actually exit out of this one. And I want to go into, yeah, I don't know how to just go from one table to the next. I actually closed the entire application and start the next one. Let's see if this one loads the way I need it. Okay. I wonder if there's a way for me to turn down the FPS just so I could get a better recording for you guys, because it sucks that I like I said, this is the first time I'm making a recording of this application, and I'm trying to figure out how I could get it to even look decent. Well, here's the physics stuff right here. See, this is what I don't really understand what this means. Complex flippers. I mean, this says physics, okay? How do I get in there to turn knobs, you know? I'm going to leave it on complex flippers and see what happens. I have no idea what that's going to do. And I was wondering how I get the frame rate to go down. Just bear with me for a second. I'm trying to... Yeah, see, there's nothing... At 35 frames, I'm not getting any more frame count out of this. Maybe if I go into table options, difficulty, rendering, lighting. Wow, even just having menus open, it seems like I lose more frame count. All right. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a way to get any more frame count. Let's just keep going. I'll leave that FPS counter up there. Now, one thing I will say is that I don't know if it was just this table or what, but I know that I went into multi-ball on this table and I shot. When you go into multi-ball, if you're not familiar with this table, every one of those shots that say jackpot lights up solid, and as you shoot it, it'll say jackpot, and it'll turn off that light. When you get to the last light and you make the shot, as long as you're still in multi-ball, it'll now start the super jackpot light, which is a light that starts from the left orbit and it stays there for about 5 seconds, and then it moves to the left ramp for 5 seconds, and then it moves to the multi-ball shot for 5 seconds until you finally hit it, right? It'll keep going through every one of these jackpot shots until you hit it, and then it'll scream like shoot super jackpot, and then it'll light one of these 6 requirements down at the bottom by the flippers. The one all the way to the left, actually, that says super jackpot, that'll light up. And once you get all of these things lit up down there, those six objectives, and you complete all of the saucers in the middle, you'll get destroy the universe or whatever the hell it's called, right? It's like the wizard mode, right? However, on this table, the right orbit just stood lit, okay, and I kept shooting it. I think I shot it about 6 times. And no matter how many times I shot it, it just never registered a shot. And I said, okay. And then I started shooting the ball that I had trapped on the right flipper. And then all of a sudden I shot it again, and all of a sudden I registered the shot. And then the super came out, and I got the super, right? But it kind of frustrated me because I'm like, if it's not registering shots, that's a big problem, right? Physics being a little out of whack or wonky is one thing, but it not registering the shot at all is really frustrating. I also noticed that I had two balls trapped on the right flipper, and I did one of those quick taps that usually sends one ball up, and then the other ball is kind of rolling, so you could do whatever you want to unlock the 2 balls from being next to each other. And the physics did not respond that way. It almost looked like the first ball was hitting a solid wall, and then it was just passing it to the other flipper. It was a very abnormal physics response. So let's hopefully maybe get a little bit better frame response here. I don't think we're going to, but yeah, no, it's still kind of skippy. I'm gonna try and go right into multi-ball. It's kind of good that it's going slow. Maybe I could demonstrate this stuff.
Martians are strengthening the Tower of Pisa!
So there goes one. I just shot that left orbit. Didn't even register it. So it's not even just the multi-ball thing. It's just I don't know if it's this table or if it's the application, but stuff does not register sometimes.
You Martians have no good! Blow the saucer out of the sky! Jackpot!
That's another thing that happens to me quite frequently on this table. As the ball gets stuck in that left out lane. And then I gotta go and hit the keyboard to nudge it out. Or nudge it back in. Because it did not want to drain. Ah, I should have held that ball there. Shit. I actually wanted to show the weird issue that I saw with trying to flip or pass. That's another interesting thing. Look at the top rollover lanes. I'm trying to okay, so that's the left one selected, and then when I go to select the right one, they both flip. So once again, what is this? Is this a table problem? Is it an application problem? Is it a pin main problem? Is it a conversion problem from using this, you know, a visual pinball script on a future pinball table? I have no idea. I have no idea where to even start troubleshooting this stuff because there's so many things, you know, being combined into one. So it was on the right one, even though both of them were blinking. Another thing, it didn't respect the competition mode features as well. Competition mode
Get every available man!
takes out the randomness of a pinball machine, and that's good for tournaments. So that when you play this in competition mode and you hit that scoop for the first mystery shot, you know you're getting 50 million, right? I don't remember what the other ones are. I really don't try and shoot the mystery scoop thing on here. But I know that the first one is always 50 million. When I put this in competition mode and shot it, the first thing I got was strobe multi-ball. Now, is that a big deal? Not necessarily, but is it a big deal if player 2 comes behind me and shoots the same shot and gets a, you know, hold bonus or something stupid like that, and I just got strobe multi-ball? Yeah, that's gonna be a conversation to be had right there, because I know if I were playing and some guy just got, speak of the devil, if some guy just got strobe multi-ball and hit like, you know, 20 jackpots and all I got was, you know, double bonus or something, yeah, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off. That's not a fair, that kind of randomness can be avoided. So, maybe if I'm not stupid again, I'll grab this ball and try and demonstrate the flipper problem. Okay, good. So here we go. We got two balls on the right side. Now we want to do a cradle separation, right? So I would tap this flipper on the right. The first ball there should go up a little bit on the sling, and then frees up me to do a shot with the right with the second ball. Or it can go up and alley-oop into the in lane, or it could go up and hit that AN from Martian over there. It could do a number of things. Let's see what it does here. And it made me look wrong. It made me look like a liar, because I swore I did that like a whole bunch of times before, and it did not behave that way. So I really think it doesn't always act predictable, the physics. So now I'm just testing things out with the flipped physics to see what it does. So I tried to alley past that, but it looks like I shot it right into the post. I can't really tell. It's hard to play with the skipping that's going on. I don't ever know how it looks on the screen. I don't know if it looks smooth, but it's definitely not smooth when you're playing it. However, it does not play like that when you're not recording. But so I'm gonna try and grab another opportunity for cradle separation. No, it's not gonna be on that one. Yeah, totally making it look like a wire now.
Well done!
I also don't like how dark the playfield is, but I know you can adjust the lighting and stuff. So that can be at least easily fixed. Now how did that just gave me 2 jackpots in the same shot. It looks like it gave me the right one too. I don't know. I gotta rewind the tape and see that one because I know I made the same shot twice just now. And it said jackpot twice. I feel like the multi-ball shot is incredibly easy on this table.
Missiles
I mean,
on standby.
I get my head rocked in my league on this game because I can never, make that shot successfully all the time. And a lot of times I'm relying on trying to get that multi-ball, and I can't. Here I am, hitting it like every shot.
We gotta save the Statue of Liberty! Multi-ball!
So let's see if we can get this jackpot glitch to happen again. Oh, such a pain in the ass to try and play like this.
Jackpot! Jackpot! We'll fight for our freedom! Blow the saucer out of the sky!
So there it goes, the infamous right orbit. I just shot it, got nothing for it.
Jackpot! Nobody messes with the USA!
Go for the extra ball.
Jackpot! Extra ball!
Now I just shot the left orbit. And I should have been shooting for the super just now, and I'm not. There we go again. This is that's the second clean shot I had to that left orbit. There's the third clean shot. So, what do I gotta do to get a super in this game?
Super jet!
So here I am, progressing through the 6 things I can't get a super. And we all know that multi-balls don't last forever. As I'm struggling to make the shot to begin with, and then every time I make it, oh, you know what? Let's just leave it stuck there. Okay, so I guess there's a new rule set that if you want to get a super, you gotta shoot the shot 17 times, and then you can get the super.
Super jackpot! Oh, baby!
Yeah, so I'm pretty much done. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fan at the moment, right? That doesn't mean that they might not do more development. I mean, I can't be too critical on it because it is beta, but at the same time, I mean, other things are in beta too that don't do some of these things of not registering shots. That's to me, that's just, it's unplayable. It's not beta. There it goes. Didn't register that right orbit either. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, if you're running a desktop mode and you want to try something, maybe play around with it. See if you can maybe figure out some of the things I couldn't. I'm probably gonna play with it a little bit more. I personally don't know if I'm gonna make another video on it at this moment in time. I may just let this sit. See if the application programmers continue with it, or if the project falls off the face of the earth again. However, like I said, I'm not seeing it just yet. So I hope you guys liked the video. It wasn't really an upbeat video. I'm kind of tired. It was kind of I expected more. I'm kind of a little upset. I know it's beta, like I said, but I kind of expected it to be like, wow, this might give VP10 a run for its money, and I kind of feel like VP10 is still way up there in maturity. Even if they've been beta testing for like 7 months or whatever it is now, that the tables do look a lot better. They made the application allegedly a little bit easier for people to get into writing the stuff, and from what I can see, everything pretty much registers, and the rules work very well. So that's all I got. I'm gonna probably make one more video rather quickly on a game review or something, and then pretty much call it a night. So anyway, that was United Pinball. Keep them on your radar. See what happens in the future. But right now, don't go crazy overwriting your stuff just yet. All right, later.